Kia ora Hayley, ko sa tis Leafa toku ingoa. Thanks for having me in the Te Mahi Rangahau paper this semester. I'm really enjoying it. First I'd like to introduce myself. So again, I'm Satis. I'm currently living in Samoa. At the moment getting some work experience to go towards my master's dissertation research paper. So truly grateful to be able to be here and have access to all the resources that I'll need, and I'm also grateful to be a part of this paper because of the methods and the style of research that I'll be using, and I'm so lucky to be able to get some tools as I carry out that research. So thank you so much for having me. Again, I'm so sorry for not being able to make the Skype session that was the other week. I'm so sorry about that. I work full-time here. I also come home, do my studies, and then I have my son to look after, and I'm also a wife as well, so I have a very busy life, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't make it. But again, I'm just really and thoroughly enjoying this paper, and I hope that I can that you'll like my reflective journal that I'm about to show you. So I'm just going to turn it around to the laptop now. So this is my reflective journal. I like to use electronic ones so that I can always go back and edit anything that I need to, and also having the access to all my photos online, things like that. So that just worked out best for me to have. So I'm just going to get right into it. The first week that I added, the first entry was the introduction week. So I really enjoyed how you talked about our Indigenous research and how research was about representing the people of our Indigenous cultures. I also had a look at one of the resources that you put up, and it led me to all these students' master's thesis, which was really interesting to see. It kind of makes me think that, you know, like my research will be displayed like this somehow, and it really gave me a lot of motivation to make sure that I do well in my research and make sure it's meaningful, because not only my markers will be seeing it, but possibly future students or other academics might have a look at that, and so that really inspired me to do well. I just introduced myself a little bit down here, being able to work in Samoa law reform. Yeah, and so that was just my reflection of that week and just getting started. And also I've got a picture of me here. That is me in Samoa. I like to include pictures in my journals. I don't know why, I just really enjoy having something to show what I'm talking about, and so having a visual picture there is how I like to do my stuff. Week one was the reading. So I did my reading on Manulani Maya's text. So I chose her because my dad's sister is married to a Hawaiian, and I always will pick a topic or a subject that relates to me and that's close to me, so that I have more of a connection with the topic, so that I can you know, work harder on it and have more motivation because of the closeness of the topic. And so I talked about how she sorry, there's my picture again. I talked about how she was talking about how the language was taken away, just like it was here in Aotearoa, sorry, there in Aotearoa. I know a lot about the history of the taking away of the language and the revitalization process. You know, and all the acts amended and things like that bring Te Reo Māori back into New Zealand. So I thought that was really interesting, and I wanted to, you know, I wanted to keep this going, like keep Te Reo up. I speak fluent Te Reo, but my boy, well, fluent basic to fluent Te Reo. But my boy is half Samoan, and so I'm still trying to teach him Maori, but he really likes to bring out his Samoan side, which is great. So either way, I'm happy with that. Week two, I watched those videos that were posted in week two. So one was on epistemology and the other one was on hermeneutics. So I found it interesting that they were both from Greek. That was my understanding, that they were both from Greek words. So epistemology was the study of knowledge, and I thought that was really important because, you know, everyone has a different idea of what knowledge is, and so just being able to hear what he had to say about it and the different ways it can be interpreted was really great. So that was really interesting. Hermeneutics was interesting to hear about as well. My understanding of that word was to explain or to translate the knowledge. So Jen Zimmerman, he gave the example that it wasn't just orally or written knowledge. It could actually be what's happening around us. And so I started to think of like history, you know, when our elders transfer knowledge. It's not written. They do it orally, but it's of stories. And so I felt that that was really interesting to hear this man talking about, you know, what's going around us is knowledge as well itself. And so that was very interesting. This was me. I performed on a cruise ship in Sydney, Kapahaka, and did all these workshops, and I thought, you know what, like, it'd be a good picture to put on because of my knowledge that I have, and to be able to share that with others through performance. Week 3 is on Maji Hohepa's article. So she talked about kaupapa Māori being approached differently at universities across New Zealand, and she said that, you know, the academics are trying to pursue more a Māori perspective in what they're actually studying, which I thought was great. When I was reflecting on this article, I thought of how I was at uni, and all the Auckland University students used to come down to Waikato University. They didn't make it into the next year because of the selection criteria. And every time they came down, they'd always say wonderful things about our university, like how everyone was so nice, everyone was inclusive, the cultural aspect of being able to study there was different from the Auckland University. And so that just made me feel really grateful to be able to complete my degree at the Waikato University, because, I mean, that's where I want my future to be, and my career. I want it to benefit our Māori and Pacific Islanders. And what better way to do it in a place that incorporates and acknowledges culture, and so that just made me feel really grateful. I've got a picture over here of my graduation last year for my undergrad degree. So yeah, I just felt really privileged to be at Waikato Uni. Sorry, I'm trying to go fast. Week 4, so this was this week just gone. I was able to read Charles Menzies' article that week, and he set out some guidelines on on how to research experiences, which I found very useful in my postgrad studies. He set out the first step was to initiate the dialogue. Second step was to research. Refine the research plan in consultation with the nation. And so I kind of thought that maybe we could apply that to, you know, maybe people of high standing or academics in the culture that we want to study. So I was able to talk to my boss, who's a PhD. She's a doctor now, and she was really impressed with my study ethics and what I was researching, and she was really supportive. And so I think that that's really good, is to get that support from what you're going to study, and just have consultation with someone in that area so that you're on the right track. The next part, his third step was to conduct the research, go out and do the research, and then the last step was to write, do an analysis, revise it, and then distribute it. So those are my steps that I'm wanting to follow as I go on my journey to finishing my master's degree. There's a picture of my family because I talked about how I wanted it to benefit the Samoan people. Sorry, I'm running out of time, but I hope you've enjoyed my video. Hayley, thank you so much for everything. I'll continue to add in my entries and the compulsory entries as well. I'll do that as well, but thank you so much for your time. Bye, ka kite.